pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Welcome to the special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ballston Spa here on July 22nd, 2026, 8 a.m. I am not a morning person, so anybody that thinks that this meeting is something I really wanted, or any of us probably, is wrong, but we're doing this because of some matters we'll talk about in a moment here. One thing, the actual resolution itself, forgot to make a motion officially on it, but pro-housing, you'll see the certification letter of intent. We'll also have a motion to approve the pro-housing community resolution itself, and I'll read that. It was in the attachments that was online, but we'll still read it, so we're here for you.
So I'm realizing the language you have it tied into both.
All right, did I put both? Yeah, okay.
Oh,
yes, I see. Yes, I see.
Okay.
Yes. Yep, now I see what I did.
I see it after the fact. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay, but anyway, both the resolution and the letter of intent will be approved here. Public comment on any or on agenda items only. 3 minutes per. And so, if anybody would like to see, Ellie Dillon. She is here and present. You can. Let's do this, Ellie. Did we put a microphone? Well, I just want to make sure they can hear you. So, if Paul wants to hand his microphone, just keep it like down here, and you'll be fine.
I just want the definition of pro-housing explained.
Sure.
I haven't seen the resolution. I missed it and I went over and over, but I just want to know what that definition is and what it means to us.
You got it.
So, thank you.
Anybody else want to speak?
Are we still on motion?
We haven't even gotten the motions. We're in the public comment about motions.
Okay, yes.
Hold on one sec. We're going to get you a microphone. But the thing is, the AC is great to feel, but it's loud, so at least now they'll be able to hear you.
That's okay.
Just keep it down here, like right here, and it'll be great for you. And just state your name, and we know that your address is known to the clerk.
To the public, thank you.
Yeah.
In regard to this, Lisa Spidel, in regard to this particular and all emergency meetings for motion review, it appears that this housing motion is something that should have been known about prior to having the need for a fire sale meeting. There is no motion attached to meeting minutes for review by the constituents. The lack of transparency and the need for immediate action leaves a feeling of uneasiness that the wool is being pulled over our eyes. As for the cell towers being owned by the village, at a point in the future, the cell tower could/will fail or become obsolete. It will be on the village to remove/dispose of. Free is never really free. Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else? Thank you. We will go to motions at this point, and sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, is that Karen Avenarius possibly? Karen A. We'll see if it is. And
Hi.
Karen, go ahead.
Good morning. Thanks for putting it on Zoom. So I do have a few things I'd like to say. Karen Avenarius, 10 East High Street, Ballston Spa. Just a couple of questions that we have. I think some people already stated, the last minute meeting was a little concerning. And I'm looking at the pro-housing resolution and the New York Forward grant. While everyone wants to see our downtown thrive, we can't let the promise of state funding become a grant trap that forces overdensity and subsidized private cleanup on a toxic site. I know back maybe a month or so ago, Assemblywoman Mary Beth Walsh passed a bill which extends the site's brownfield tax credits to 2031. The state has stepped in to give the developer a massive multi-million-dollar financial extension to handle the cleanup. Because the state has already provided this tax safety net, the village does not need to rush into a pro-housing resolution or force an overdense 3-building complex on the residents of Ballston Spa to chase additional grants. The developer has already state-level tax incentives. The site at 125 Bath Street is a hazardous brownfield sitting directly next to the Gordon Creek. The developer chose to buy a toxic property. They should bear the cleanup of the burden. The taxpayer-backed grant money should be spent on public parks, sidewalks, municipal infrastructure, not as an extra subsidy to help private developers put high-density housing into a small historic town villages corridor. And I think that they have this grant from Mary Beth Walsh until 2031, which I believe is the one that, an extension from the one that they've been getting since 2007. I think it would be best if we try to look at what the residents want on this site. I know there's been a lot of meetings and people are very concerned about this. And I urge the board, do not fall into the grant trap. Use this time to protect local zoning controls, scale down the density, and ensure the community's safety. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Karen, just to be clear, this New York Forward has nothing to do with 125 Bath Street, and the pro-housing resolution has nothing to do with 125 Bath Street.
Well, I'd like to explain a little bit better. I was going to wait till the motion. I had my thing on. I actually did turn it on this time. So I talked about this pro-housing resolution and for probably about 3 or 4 meetings the past few months. It's being done today because I have conflicts. I had a conflict with the previous meeting this month, and I also have a conflict on Monday. So we thought to do it well during this meeting because I can at least explain what this is. The pro-housing commitment is something that New York State is asking anybody that is applying for New York Forward funding, Main Street grants through, I believe that's still with ESD, Empire State Development. It's honestly, it looks at what we're already doing in the village. It looks at our code. It just wants to see that would you be able to have infill development? Like we're missing that middle as far as housing, and basically it's just acknowledging that Ballston Spa is already pro-housing. That means everything from single families to multifamily units. So it's pretty standard at this point. New York State requires it. It gives you pretty much requires it because it gives you, they want to see that they're not investing money in a community is going to, not embrace housing. This has been something since Governor Kathy Hochul has been in office. It was something she's required. So it is a standard practice in New York State. And again, the reason why we're doing this is so we can access New York Forward grants. That's everything from economic development sort of things to, potentially having some, rehabilitation of properties. There's a number of things that can be done with that money. So the thing that had to do with the tannery site, that's not a grant, that's a tax credit that they were extending, and that this, the state through Mary Beth and Jim Walsh and the rest of the assembly thought was a good idea, and Senate, to continue the access to that funding. But this has nothing to do with tannery, the tannery site. It is just something that we're trying to do to, get us in a good place to be competitive for New York Forward. So, and this is something that was recommended as part of the Revitalized Ballston Spa report, which is the Brownfield area opportunity study that we did. So it's checking a box of things that we identified through that committee, and when we passed that study, that these are things the village really should pursue. And so I'm just glad that we're following through on it. I hope that explained some of it, and I think the resolution Frank is going to read because he has a copy in front of him. So. Yep.
And also, I just realized our Labella engagement didn't end up on here, so I'll do that on Monday. But
okay.
Norabella will have to forgive me for that. Timing-wise, too, we do need this done because of tight time frames. New York Forward, I think, is due in next month at some point. So this gives enough lead time for Norabella to get her work done. And it was accidental that it was not on the last meeting's agenda. So When we saw we needed a special meeting anyway, I'm glad that you were able to get this on and explain it, so thank you. With nobody else, no other hands, here we go. Got to get a motion approving the pro-housing community resolution of the Village of Ballston Spa and authorizing the mayor to sign the attached pro-housing certification letter of intent to the Office of Homes and Community Renewal.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fandesa.
Second.
Trustee Dunkelbarger, discussion. Let me read it into the record for you, Ellie. Pro-housing community resolution of the Village of Ballston Spa. Whereas the Village of Ballston Spa hereinafter local government believes that the lack of housing for New York residents of all ages and income levels negatively impacts the future of New York State's economic growth and community well-being. Whereas the housing crisis has negative effects at regional and local levels, we believe that every community must do their part to contribute to housing growth and benefit from the positive impacts a healthy housing market brings to communities. Whereas we believe that supporting housing production of all kinds in our community will bring multiple benefits, including increasing housing access and choices for current and future residents, providing integrated, accessible housing options that meet the needs of people with sensory and mobility disabilities, bringing economic opportunities and vitality to our communities, and allowing workers at all levels to improve their quality of life through living closer to their employment opportunities. Whereas we believe that evidence is showing that infill development that reduces sprawl and supports walkable communities has significant environmental and public health benefits. And whereas we believe that affirmatively furthering fair housing and reducing segregation is not only required by law, but is essential for keeping our communities strong and vibrant. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that Village of Ballston Spa, in order to take positive steps to alleviate the housing crisis, adopts the Pro-Housing Communities Pledge, which will have us endeavor to take the following important steps. 1, streamlining permitting for multifamily housing, affordable housing, accessory dwelling units, and supportive housing. 2, adopting policies that affirmably further fair housing. 3, incorporating regional housing needs into planning decisions. 4, increasing development capacity for residential uses. And 5, enacting policies that encourage a broad range of housing development, including multifamily housing, affordable housing, accessory dwelling units, and supportive housing. Be further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. So that is that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just one more point I wanted to make. I might have made it, but I just want to, just in case, say it again. This is acknowledging basically stuff we're already doing in our code that exists in our future code. So it's just checking the box. Ballston Spa does this. So.
Trustees Dubuque and Price Bush are absent, so we'll go roll call with the 3 that are here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And by the way, the letter of intent is basically transmit a letter. I did not read that, but it's basically here's our resolution. So here's that. Okay, can I get a motion? Well, let me talk to our council first here. Yeah, council, how would you like me to handle this?
I can do it. Excuse me. If you want me to just kind of pop in. So I know that there was a lot of concern about why there was a special meeting being held. What do we have to do this for? Why is this now? So as everyone knows, the carriers on top of the John Street water tank have to come off. And they have to come off September 1. We have been negotiating for months with the carriers, years maybe, with the carriers. And at this point, in order to meet the carriers' internal schedules, the construction schedules for the relocating, which also involves, taking a power shutdown, which there's a whole lot of moving parts. It's necessary for the village to have the leases approved. We finalized as best as possible at about 11 o'clock last night. I received the lease for Verizon. So what we'd like to do, and the reason for the special meeting, is we need to have the leases approved and the mayor authorized to sign the leases before they will go up the chain for each of the carriers. And for regulatory reasons. It's as Bernadette said earlier, it's a kind of check the box thing for the carriers. for the village, we needed to get these in place so we can move forward, so we can have them off the tank by September, so we can have the tank work done that has supposed to have been done for a while. Um, Monday's meeting was not going to work. We advised them on a earlier call this week with about 25 people. We had a meeting on Monday. We wanted to do this on Monday. That was delaying it. People were going on vacation there. The mayor decided to see if we could do a meeting today because this is something that needs to get done. So the purpose of this meeting is really just to provide the mayor authorization to sign these leases. Now, you may recall back when the board did this with AT&T a year or so ago, the board also authorized the mayor to negotiate and sign these leases. However, we felt it important that now that we have the terms of the leases, instead of just using that blanket authorization, to allow the public and to have the board see the actual terms of the lease. So this is kind of a additional authorization so that everyone knows what's going on. Is that a fair enough overview, Mayor?
I think it's a great overview. So from here, are we going to do motion approving terms and allowing a lease agreement to be executed that's consistent with those terms after village attorney review? Is that how you want to do this?
Yep. Do you want me to go through the terms?
I was going to ask you to do that. Maybe we do each one separately
Correct.
and just go into motion practice at this point on this. So can I get a motion approving the terms of a lease agreement between the Village of Ballston Spa and the specified entity of Verizon Wireless, and authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement consistent with those terms and after final approval by the village attorney?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fondenza. Second. Trustee Dunkelbarger, discussion. Go right ahead on Verizon.
Okay, so the Verizon lease has a whole, every lease has the terms of indemnification, of notice, your regular terms. The essential terms of the tower lease agreement with Verizon is that they will be relocated from the John Street Water Tower to the new monopole tower. The intention of completion is September 1st, but ultimately full relocation within 3 weeks of Verizon obtaining site control. The costs are that Verizon is going to pay a third, which is an equal share with AT&T and T-Mobile, the cost of the construction of the new tower, and then the delay coding costs of the John Street Water Tower for everyone not being able to get off in time. It's going to be an initial 5-year term with 3 additional 5-year renewals. That's normal in the industry. And the rent is $23.50 per month, incremental ground space of $5 per month per square foot if they use additional ground space. And then after the first 5 years, the monthly rent increases by 10% over the applicable rent during the previous 5 years. Those are your essential terms. At this point, there's just discussion with council as late as actually about 15 minutes ago. There was an email sent over. There's a couple things that are non-essential terms, but it's just language that we're trying to just finalize so they can get it approved. But these are the essential terms. This is what the important part is. So I would request that if the board has any questions, you let me know. We can't send a draft lease out because obviously it's a draft lease at this point.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I, as I am required to vote when there is less than a majority situation, to be a tie-breaking vote, quote unquote. Opposed? None. So 3-0, it is approved. Can I get a motion approving the terms of an agreement between the Village of Ballston Spa and the specified entity of T-Mobile Wireless, and authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement consistent with those terms after final approval by the village attorney? So moved. Trustee Dunkelbarger.
I'll second.
Trustee Fondenza. Discussion. Hit it.
So their terms are very similar. Ultimately, everyone needs to be off the tower by September 1st and then put on the new monopole. Everyone agrees to pay the 1/3 equal share with AT&T and Verizon and T-Mobile of the cost. 5-year term, 3 additional 5-year renewals. The rent for T-Mobile is $2,600 a month. Same other terms. So generally, the same terms are being negotiated with both T-Mobile and Verizon, with some discrepancies, but nothing essential to the board. The board does have copies of the draft leases, but that's, attorney-client privileged information at this point.
Okay, again, any questions, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And aye. Opposed? 3-0. The motion is approved. Can I get a motion approving the attached net? Go ahead.
Mayor?
Yes?
Just for the public. So I just want to kind of advise that the next steps are going to be that the leases, all the language is finalized today. The leases will be signed today, so that this can move forward.
You're basically telling me I have to stick around today?
I'm telling you, you absolutely need to be able to sign documents today.
Great. Got to get a motion approving the attached nationwide programmatic agreement co-location criteria verification forms for Verizon Wireless, AT&T, and T-Mobile, and authorizing the mayor to execute and transmit each.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fondainza.
Second.
Trustee Dunkelbarger, discussion. These are more or less forms that give the notice to the regulatory agencies of what is happening here. Since we are going to technically own the monopole, that's why they're going to be coming from us to state that it's a co-location going on in the Village of Ballston Spa. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Can I get a motion approving the Elon application for a Metropolitan Commercial Bank credit card for the Village of Ballston Spa, and authorizing the mayor to execute the application after approval by the village attorney?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fondainza.
Second.
Trustee Dunkelbarger, discussion. This is just getting a credit card associated with where our main funding is currently in terms of checking accounts right now, which is in Metropolitan Commercial Bank. You may remember we had made that approval last year to open the account and move funding into that account.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I did review all those, and I had emailed Melissa that they're good to go.
Okay. So I will execute it if we approve, which I will ask. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. Opposed? 3-0. The motion carries. Can I get a motion that the meeting be adjourned at 8:23 a.m.? No. No, not for special meeting. We don't do a general public comment. So get a motion that the meeting be adjourned at 8:23 a.m.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fondainza.
Second.
Trustee Dunkelbarger, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
And aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Everybody have a great fair week and Wednesday morning and everything else. And Ellie, let's go get some coffee.